I'm not going to repeat all that. Tonight's topic is life in sport. We did ask for a great cross section of individuals in our sport. One of the things that we tend to forget is there's always a spotlight on the athletes, which is incredibly important. But we wouldn't have our entire system if it wasn't for all the different individuals who contribute. We are admin people, whether they're officials, whether they're wax techs, whether they're parents who drive their kids around, or the person who comes to the club first thing in the morning to turn the lights on. We would not have a system without all the people who contribute to it, and we're very, very grateful for that. And what we wanted to do tonight was just highlight all those different roles that are available for everyone who's interested in staying in sport. So what we'll do is we'll start off right away and get the panel to introduce themselves to you. They're going to give a little history of where they've come from and where they are right now, and for some of them where they're heading to. Well, for us, like myself, who's old and already in my position, probably not heading too much further than here. So I'll hand it over to Olivia to start, and we'll just pass the mic. Not everyone's as happy.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming tonight. My name is Olivia Bouchard-Nesbitt. I grew up skiing in Morin Heights, Quebec. I grew up, my dad was coaching me as a kid. Actually, it was less coaching and more leading a ski program, just like out of Jackrabbits. And then I started racing with Fondard Laurentide, which is the home club that I still represent. After high school, I decided I wanted to keep pursuing ski racing, so I moved out west, hopped around a few places before settling in Canmore, Alberta, where I train now with the Alberta World Cup Academy. And yeah, I'm still chasing that athlete lifestyle. I'm still competing, and I'm still trying to race at the highest level. And yeah, I'm here at Nationals racing.
Olivia is also our 2022, one of our 2022 Olympians. So she failed.
Salut, moi c'est Sophie. Je vais parler franglais, là, je viens de l'Outaouais, donc des fois je vais. Je suis coach maintenant depuis comme 6 ans. Avant, j'étais athlète. Ma dernière année, j'étais aussi coachée. J'ai fait toutes sortes de sports dans ma vie. J'ai un peu tout essayé. Mais le ski, je suis tombée en amour avec ce sport-là, surtout parce qu'on peut utiliser nos contextes. Sans blague, c'est probablement la raison principale pour que j'ai choisi ce sport-là. Sport d'endurance, ou sport dans lequel on utilise. C'est vraiment ça. Puis, anecdote qui résume ma personnalité. Quand j'avais 3 ans, j'ai commencé à faire du ski, mes parents me promettaient que je ferais le choix à la fin, puis c'était ma sensation.
If you didn't understand that, she was just telling us that when she was 3 years old, her sole motivation for cross-country skiing was hot chocolate.
Hi, everybody. My name's Katie. I am the current head coach for Foothills Nordic. I've been coaching 11 years now. Before that, I've coached with Ontario for a year in our weird COVID year. I would say I did a lot of Zoom coaching. And before that, I did a stint as the assistant coach with the national team. And then I was the coach with Chelsea Nordic for a number of years. I grew up skiing in Chelsea. It's kind of a big ski community. I didn't really have much of a choice. Come from a ski family. I was kind of always like a mid-pack skier. Like I had big dreams and goals. I come from a big ski family, but never was quite able to achieve that in the athlete form. And so decided to pursue those goals in the coaching form. May have had a really good coaching role model over there allowed me to get into it with a big passion. So I changed my passion from being an athlete to being a coach and got to do all the fun, high performance things that way.
Hi everyone, I'm Liz Inkla. I guess I started in sport as a mom. I'm now the executive director with Cross Country Ski Ontario and also a level 3 official and a technical delegate. So I got started in skiing, as I said, as a teen mom. So my daughters are here. I have 3 kids. We made cross-country skiing our lifestyle, but our kids always did other things, other sports, but cross-country skiing was the main one in the winter. As I got involved, I just jumped in because they needed people in our club. I eventually became the club president. of our home club, and then started working for Cross Country Ski Ontario. And that was about 16 years ago. I decided a couple of years ago to start getting more officials training, and my level 3 last year. I did my first solo technical delegate assignment a couple of weeks ago. I've been to 3 Canada Winter Games, which is super fun because I never have gone as an athlete, but you still get to walk into the ceremonies and be cheered by all of the volunteers and the fans. So that is, that's about it in a nutshell.
Leslie Bode. I am the manager and assistant coach for a ski base here in Thunder Bay. I'm originally from Thunder Bay and recently returned to cross country skiing after a pretty long absence. So growing up in Thunder Bay at 8 years old, I was just reminiscing about my first ski race. It was like a mini midget championships in Timmins, which I know a bunch of the kids here just recently did that. And the friends that I made at that first race are still my friends today, and part of the reason I got back into skiing. So I got to move back to Canada 2 years ago, and since then have jumped back into the ski world, reconnected with tons of the friends that I made and raced with up until, so I raced until the age of 24. Yeah, it's been a wonderful experience re-engaging with that. I've had some amazing experiences this year with NTDC, with the national team at World Under 23, U20, U23 championships in Whistler, and then recently was also at Canada Winter Games wax teching with the Ontario ski team. And yeah, I'm really interested in waxing and moving into the waxing world. So that's me.
My name is Katie Weaver. I grew up in Vancouver, BC, and I am currently an athlete living in Canmore, Alberta. Yeah, I'm trying to reach the highest level I can in sport right now, but I'm also trying to fill my last years of cross-country ski racing with other kind of rich opportunities in other roles. I am a community coach with Canmore Nordic with their U14 group. And I'm also on the Nordic Canada Board of Directors as the athlete representative.
Katie was also one of our 2023 World Championship team members this year as well. So she just got back from.
Hey, hi everyone. My name is Amelia Wells. I grew up in Victoria, BC and trained with the Spectrum Nordic Ski Club until I graduated. I decided I wanted to keep skiing, but also pursue school. So I moved to Calgary and have been with the Alberta World Cup Academy for the past 3 years, completing my bachelor's in health science at the University of Calgary. And like a few of us here are trying to reach the highest level in cross-country skiing as an athlete, and who knows where I'll go after that.
And this year you were?
Oh, I was selected for the U23 World Ski Championships in Whistler, so that was super fun.
Hey everyone, my name is Natalie Wilkie, and I'm from Larch Hills. That's my club in Saint-Laurent, BC. I'm a para athlete. I've been to like the last 2 Paralympics in Pyeongchang and Beijing, which has been pretty cool because I don't know like how many of you know, but I wasn't an able-bodied skier first growing up, but I had an accident. So nowadays I ski with 1 pole. I can ski with 2 poles, but I've mainly been focusing on para skiing for the last little while. So it's like really awesome to like come here and just like see the best skiers in Canada compete, because often like I have a very different like circuit than what you guys will have. So that's been super cool. And yeah, that's yeah.
And Natalie's luggage is always incredibly heavy when she comes back from games, because I think you're up to how many medals now? 7, totally 7. She says 7. I'd be happy with 1. I'd be happy to hold 1. Okay, actually, I don't need the microphone. I'm gonna start off asking our athletes. One of the things that was really great that Katie brought up is, looking for that dual role. So just not just being an athlete in the system, but how else can we contribute to the system? So Katie, can you just maybe expand a little bit on how you're doing that? Maybe we'll pass that as an athlete and what motivated you to not just have that athlete hat?
Okay, yeah, so, I graduated from the University of Calgary this fall. And I all of a sudden had a lot more time on my hands. To fill up that time with, ways that would kind of enrich my skiing experience and give me ways to give back because the skiing community has given me a lot. So I chose coaching because, I've learned a lot through the path to high performance and also just going to ski practice when I was 13 years old and up until now. So I wanted to be a part of that as a coach. And then I decided to run for female athlete representative last spring because there was an election. So every 2 years, they'll re-elect a new female athlete representative onto the board of, onto the North Canada Board of Directors. And I saw that spot open up and it seemed like the best way for me to gain experience at the board level and give back to the athletes, the people that I'm teammates with, the people that I'm friends with at this higher level and kind of make an impact and amplify other athletes' voice because it's a pretty important thing for athletes to be able to use their voice and to be heard. And I'm very happy to be able to do that for the athletes.
I've had the pleasure of working with Katie and meeting and receiving some of the feedback Katie has, and it's incredibly important from our perspective as the NSO to have that voice come to us. It is, it is you that we are doing this for. It is for the athletes. So incredibly and articulate and important for us to hear that. So very grateful for the athletes who step into those roles. Sophie, je vais aller à toi. Juste la transition. So Katie's just given us an example of how she's slowly taking that athlete role and moving into something else. Sophie has now successfully done that. Tu l'as fait. Est-ce que tu veux juste expliquer quoi était ta motivation pour faire ça? What was your motivation to say, hey, I'm done as an athlete, but I'm going to move into coaching?
Ouais, ben, à ma dernière année que je skiais, comme dans le fond, j'ai été 3 ans sur un centre national. Puis la dernière année, comme j'ai perdu le financement, fait que je suis retournée à place de vivre à Québec, je suis retournée chez nous. Puis je voulais que, comme, ajouter un peu, comme Kelly elle disait, donner une signification de plus à ma dernière année, comme je voulais un peu laisser ma marque. Puis je savais pas vraiment ce que j'allais faire par la suite. Ben, j'étais en enseignement, j'ai étudié en enseignement au secondaire. Puis Kelly était dans l'équipe que je me suis entraînée ma dernière année avec l'équipe que j'ai coachée. Fait qu'ils m'ont comme accueilli pour m'aider à garder la motivation à l'entraînement. Fait que j'allais à la plupart des pratiques. Je faisais peut-être le 2 tiers des pratiques, puis 1 tiers je coachais. Fait que comme c'était bon, c'est quand même payant. On n'est pas riche et célèbre, mais comme ça paye bien, puis on est dehors, puis je pouvais compter certaines heures dans mon propre entraînement. Donc, puis j'avais comme des vraiment bons. On était 4 coachs dans l'équipe, donc j'avais comme 3 mentors, donc Kelly. Fait que j'ai eu comme quand même différents styles duquel j'ai pu m'appuyer par la suite. Donc, c'est un peu ça. C'était smooth comme transition.
Oui, Sophie has talked really keenly on her transition piece about being welcomed into the group that she was as an athlete, helping her transition to be a coach. I'm going to ask Katie to sort of maybe expand a little bit on what made you say, yeah, and Sophie also mentioned, it's not the most glamorous job to be a coach, right? Anyone who's a teacher or an educator of some sort probably has that sort of feeling where it's like long hours, it's challenging work, you're dealing with a lot of different people, a lot of different things, and yet it's incredibly rewarding. So Katie, maybe talk a little bit about your motivation to move into coaching.
Okay. Well, I kind of accidentally fell into coaching, to be honest with you. Into ski coaching. So my first summer job ever was being a paddling coach.
Hard recruitment for that one.
Yeah, she may have been my boss. So yeah, I developed the coaching skills in flat water canoe kayak. But then same thing, I went to university and I was kind of bored, like, and I wanted to, I originally started as a volunteer. I wanted to give back to my community. I was like, I don't know, I needed a bit of a break from skiing when I stopped, and I was like, actually, I kind of miss it. And for me, I really miss the community. There's something really, really special about the ski community in Canada, I think. It feels like my family, and it felt like I was far away from my family. And I started working as a personal trainer and hated it. So then I messaged the local ski club and was like, hey, like, you looking for coaches? And yeah, had my first couple practices and realized, okay, I really like working with teenagers. This is awesome. And I never really looked back. It was, I kind of fell in love with it accidentally. Or maybe it was what I was always meant to do. I'm not sure. Yeah.
You won't know till you try.
Yeah.
You won't know till you try. So, you know, we go to games, we go to events, even here, you know, we're out there and we see the coaches running along the side cheering. And if anyone watched the post of Tormund chasing, I can't remember if it was Sonia, and you're like, yeah, was it? That energy that we see the coaches, the athletes, but you know, there's the less sort of like glamorous, not so thankful positions sometimes that have to happen for these events to actually occur. And so we know in the background, stuck in a little, you know, non-well ventilated area is our wax techs. And then we have our officials who stand on the side at, you know, from pretty much 6:30 in the morning till 7 o'clock at night to make sure these events happen. So for me, I'm really curious, as you know, it's not the high glamour job, but it's one of those critical pieces that can happen. So Liz, for officiating, what made you go, yeah, this is where I want to be, and what is it about officiating you like so much?
I kind of fell into officiating as well. You know, I started as team mom. I'm still kind of team mom this week because my daughter's home coaching for the local club, and my colleague Katja is staying with us, and I make the lunches. But no, it really, like, as I started, like, our club needed help. And that was the area that I was good at. I was a good organizer. And then when I wanted to kind of take it a bit more, to beyond, just helping in the sidelines, that's when I went into officiating and decided then that I also wanted to give back to the community. I've been around since, like, my first nationals was 1997. So I'm older than Julie, and closer to the end. And so what ended up happening was I wanted to give back to the community, and that was one way that I could do it, and one way that I felt I could do it well. So yeah, I think that it's important for officials to remember that we're here for the athletes. It's not the other way around. And that when we put on events, we're putting, like, you know, I've been getting up pretty much for the past 3 weeks at, you know, 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning, and being on site by 7 or so. And it's long days, but it's very rewarding when you see, you know, the athletes and the podiums, and not just the podiums, but you see the kids having fun out there and cheering on their teammates. And that's really what's, I think is important, that sport really provides a welcoming place for all kids, women, like girls, women, all, like, to, in a very welcoming environment. And I think our sport is particularly welcoming. So.
And then Leslie, from a completely different angle, and being also a behind the scenes kind of person, why wax teching? Why is it? Yes, I want to know everything there is about non-fluoros.
Yeah, actually, non-fluoros is part of it. With the transition to non-fluoro waxing, a lot of the traditional stuff that everybody has kind of kept the secret wax concoctions in their wax room. It's always been a very top secret thing. And with the introduction of non-fluoros, like, no one knows what's going on. There's tons of new products. There's so many, like, new things to try. And for someone who's jumping back into it, I think it's a really exciting time to find out how these new waxes work. And yeah, the wax room there are not very many women in the wax room, and it is a kind of a scary and lonely place to be sometimes, but it's also a fun place to be, to kind of to explore new things. And yeah, I feel like this is the moment to get involved in it, for me anyway. And Yeah, I'm really excited about waxing.
I love that you're excited about waxing, so walking into the wax room at Junior U23 Worlds, you just see Leslie like in there, like just whatever it was you were doing, and I won't even pretend to know what she was doing, but and then yelling at people, which I thought was like, that's gotta be a good skill set to have in a wax room. It's like, you.
I don't know if there's any.
I'm gonna move to the athlete perspective for a second, with Olivia and Natalie. You guys are racing at a pretty high level. You've both attended the pinnacle event that there is in our community, so Paralympics and Olympics. I suspect that was not done by yourselves. That was not something that you guys achieved on your own, that there was probably a big team around you. So what are some of the mentors that were in your community that really helped you get to that level, that you feel that, you know, hey, I needed them around me, and hey, they were really supportive of me, and who were those people, and how did they help you? Yeah, you got the microphone.
Okay, I mean, honestly, like, I think getting to like the Paralympics or Olympics, is probably like one of like the hardest things you can do, but I mean, most people just like look at the athletes, but when you look at everything that goes on behind the scenes, there is so much work to get yourself to an event like that. So much organization. I mean, like, just like behind the scenes, like all like the wax techs and coaches, I mean, like, you always see the athletes, there's only so many athletes, but then there's probably like the same number of people just working behind the scenes, massage therapists, wax techs, coaches. And honestly, like, sorry, can I just drink some water?
Yeah.
Olivia, go on.
Olivia, you go ahead. Natalie will agree.
Yeah, for sure. You never get there on your own. I think one of the most important things is just having people who believe in your dream as much as you do. I don't know many people who can do it on their own, just with a belief in their own dream. Of course, that's the first ingredient, is belief in yourself. But what really pushed me along the way was, you know, I have really supportive parents who still believe in what I'm doing. Really supportive coaches, pretty much every step of the way, who believed in what I was doing. And I think whether they're perceived or real, I think there's like a common experience as women in sport that being a full-time professional athlete is not as viable of a pathway as it is for men. So sometimes you question, like, is it okay to do this? Will people respect me for doing this? Will they think that I should be doing something else or doing two things at the same time? I'm someone who just likes to be 100% in the thing that I'm doing. So for me, that's sport right now. And yeah, I'm lucky that I just have like some key people around me, including teammates, and especially teammate mentors. I think that is like the third piece: the parents, the coaches, and the teammates and mentors. So people who have done it before you. I've so often, sometimes even cold called, you know, when I was younger, like some athletes who I looked up to. You guys might not even remember these people because they're a few generations ago now, but Becky Scott, Sarah Renner, and then more recently, Emily Nishikawa, Allison Marshall, Heidi Widmer. Yeah, these women who I saw as role models and people who had success, the type of success that I was chasing. And they were always so encouraging, and it's just nice to be able to lean on people who have done it before you and who can give you guidance. And then having a group of teammates too around you, friends, people who just make the sport really fun. And I think these experiences, these local races all the way up to championships are made special because of the people you share them with. And as much as I want to go to the Olympic Games or World Championships, what I want even more than that is to go there with one of my friends and share that experience with them. So I'm always trying to keep my friends in sport too, so it goes both ways. But yeah.
Nice. Natalie, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, sorry, yeah, that was a really powerful message, I think, and I think it's like also super important to like have that community, because I mean, what does it mean to get to the highest level of sport if you're there by yourself? And I mean, just like looking at like the amount of kids who stop skiing after high school, I think a lot of them could stay in sport longer, but if you don't have that like real sense of community where you're like skiing with your friends. You're not skiing just for racing, because that's only like one small part of being a skier. I mean, like, you train like 500, 600, 700 hours a year, and like most of those hours, like, I mean, a lot of them are on your own, but like you'll also be spending them with your coach, with your teammates, with your friends. And I think if you didn't really have that sense of community, those friends to ski with, those coaches to chat with, I think that would be a pretty lonely way to get to the top. So going back to what Olivia was saying, like going to the Olympics or Paralympics with your friends, I think, or even just like whatever level of sport that you decide to go to, I think it's super important to be with a good group of people and have fun while you're doing it. And I think like the importance of just having like a good team who works well together. I mean, I've really seen that like the last couple of years, like the team I'm on right now, I think works really well together. Like the wax techs are dialed in, they know what they're doing, and for the most part, like we all get along, we're all sharing a common goal to get to the highest level of sport that we can, and I think having that is really important.
Thanks. Amelia, you're on that trajectory. That's where you're heading, right? That's the goal. That's what you're working towards. What are some of the challenges that you're facing as you're kind of heading towards that? And what are some of the strategies you're using to sort of get over those challenges?
Okay, the first thing that comes to mind is just the challenges that I had when I was in high school. So I grew up in Victoria, BC, which is 3 hours away from skiing. So I never was able to train with my team other than the weekends. And everyone said like I was a part-time cross-country skier and that it would be really hard for me to keep skiing at a high level if I'm not getting the hours in on skiing. So when like, for example, I didn't make the BC ski team until last year. So that when I was younger was really hard because I saw all the girls around me making it and I wasn't. I'm like, should I be in this sport? Should I not? But I just loved the community so much that I knew I always wanted to stay in it. So my coach, Andrea Staff, was super, super supportive all throughout high school. And she told me, if you just keep in the sport, stay with it. Once you get to a training center, then you'll be able to train all the hours that you need to succeed. So yeah, and then after high school, I joined the academy, which then I was starting to be able to train like a cross-country skier more than twice a week. And then I slowly improved, which is, I think one of the biggest motivators is seeing self-improvement over the years. That's something that has been really key for me. But just stay with it because you never know your full potential until you give it a try.
I'm hearing a lot of the piece of community and supporting each other. And I think that's a huge strength that we have all in many sports, but specifically in this sport as well. When I hear that, I look out to everybody here and I think everyone has a role in supporting each other. When everyone has an opportunity to keep each other in the sport, and how do we challenge ourselves every day to be that person that supports each other to stay in the sport, right? And that's a rhetorical question, but you know, as you're sitting there and you're listening to these amazing women here doing what they do, how are you taking from that and saying, yeah, you know, this is what I can do. This is personally what I can do to stay in my sport, or to at least keep my friends in it with me so that it stays fun, it stays engaging, it stays exciting. We have this room full of amazing women. So, and I'm just going to open it up to anybody here. If, you know, I was to say, what's one piece of advice to give to these women and these girls to stay in sport, what would it be? And I open it up to anyone who'd like to answer that. What would be that one piece of advice? Not all at once though, like, please.
Ask when you need something.
Say it again.
Ask when you need something. Quand tu as besoin de quoi. Comme ma dernière année d'entraînement, comme tu sais, je coachais puis je m'entraînais avec le groupe, mais j'avais quand même des workouts à faire par moi-même. Puis comme j'ai réalisé à quel point j'avais des gens autour de moi qui s'entraînaient pas au niveau nécessairement, mais c'était des comme sporty spice, fait qu'ils faisaient toutes sortes de sports. Puis,
C'était des quoi?
Des sporty
désolée pour
spice,
l'expression
come on.
des sporty spice.
Sporty Spike.
Ouais, fait que je faisais beaucoup de sport, puis tu sais, j'ai des amis qui venaient avec moi à la track, à la piste d'athlétisme, puis ils faisaient comme certaines parties de l'entraînement avec moi, juste pour comme m'amener là. Puis ça arrive plus qu'une fois. Fait que j'ai fini cette saison-là en étant tellement comme reconnaissante des gens que j'avais autour de moi, puis il fallait juste que je le demande. Parce qu'il y avait, pour des levées de fonds, pour des entraînements, pour me changer les idées, il y avait toujours des gens. Je pouvais être là pour eux aussi, mais j'ai beaucoup plus été là pour les gens après que j'ai arrêté. Mais quand j'avais besoin de quelque chose, il y avait toujours du monde qui était là. Faut que tu prennes ta place pour te demander.
I really like what Sophie's saying, ask. If you have a question, if you want help, if you need support, if you're unsure, ask. Do not be shy to ask. That is there and available to you. And tonight you have, you know, these amazing women to ask, but even within your group and your friends and your coaches and your wax techs to ask and to not be shy to ask, right? No one has all the answers. And your friends are probably wanting to ask that same question or want that same support, but may not be ready to ask it. So together, as you guys move through your pathway and asking for the help that you need, people are available for that. And Sophia is saying that, you know, once she was able to get past that and start asking for the help, that support started coming and her performance started increasing and her enjoyment started increasing. And it taught her to then be available to that next generation to help them when they asked. So I think that's incredibly powerful and a great answer. And Leslie, yeah?
I would say if you leave, and there are a lot of reasons that you will, you know, leave in life, like school will take over, something else will take over, maybe another sport, but come back.
Other sport, what is that? So
Sometimes you live in places where there's no snow, so you have to take a higher sport. But yeah, always come back.
roller ski.
Yeah, you can roller ski. All right, but there's always a place for you back in sport. So the community, and I think like what I have experienced is the community that you build, like from the age of 8, 9, whatever time you started racing to whenever you leave, like those people going for a 2 or 3 hour run with someone, you become friends with those people and they'll be your friends forever. You share stuff and you chat on those runs, and when you share those workouts and those joint challenges, like, yeah, you will have a connection with that person forever. So
Nice.
come back.
Anyone else wanna? Yeah,
I can throw something in. Everyone needs different things to motivate them to stay in sport, but I'll share something that's important to me. And I would give you all the advice to be inclusive, kind of under the idea of you get what you give. So whether you're going for a ski with people or you just want to plan a fun activity with your ski friends, be the one who's bringing people together. Be the one who is gonna make it fun or is gonna make sure that this is a group thing where people feel included and you feel, you know, like a group of friends. And if you're putting that energy out there, then I think it'll come back to you tenfold, hopefully. So yeah, if you include other people, it's more likely that you'll have friends staying in sport for longer, and that might be reciprocated back to you.
That's not lost. We just had an athlete who just started as a Paralympic skier, Paranordic skier, I should say. And they attended the Canada Games this year and they posted and they had the opportunity to come out to Canmore and integrate and see the Paralympic team train and talk to some of the Paralympic athletes and the coaches. And that athlete posted after the Canada Games that they used to be incredibly shy about, they had a similar to what Natalie has in terms of missing some fingers and stuff like that, as well as another disability. And they said they used to be very shy. They would hide it. They would put it in their pocket. And I think Natalie, you can maybe talk to that a little bit as well about how that community you're part of helped you with your injury, if you don't mind sharing that.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, it's 6.5 years now since my accident, which is quite a long time and crazy to think about. But when I went to the Paralympics in 2018, that was about like 1.5 years after my accident. And so it was still pretty fresh in my mind. And I had really only started seeing one goal like the year before. And I was like, same thing, like super shy about my injury, like my hand would always be in my pocket. And I was actually like wearing a bandage for about 1.5 years after, just because I really hated when people would look at my hand. Like I hated that I was different from everybody else. And going to the Paralympics and seeing that like every single athlete who was at the Paralympics had a disability. And they were competing at the Paralympics in Pyeongchang because of that disability. And I started to realize that having an injury, like while it was like awful, like nobody wants an injury, it was also like a way for me to like have new opportunities and just like meeting everyone with like who had something, I think was really cool. And like that really helped me in my healing process. And at the Paralympics, like seeing all the athletes just displaying their injuries, I started to get more comfortable with my own, and bandage came off. And yeah, I mean, I don't wear it anymore and I'm totally fine with it now, but that was really a transformative moment.
Yeah, the power of community and support there is really, really incredible. I have a list of questions and I just got sidetracked by your story because I no, it was amazing. Yeah, just to finish that, the Canada Games athlete posted that they really were able to see themselves in a powerful and inclusive light because they had been exposed to other people who saw them as an athlete, not as an injury. And that support was allowed them to go to the Canada Games and have an incredible opportunity and an incredible race opportunity where they felt very powerful about it. Now they're looking for opportunities to support other athletes. So we can't underestimate how much that supporting of our community really does drive development for us. So, sorry, I'm pausing for a moment. It is a Women in Sport night, so I guess I'll go here now. Why do we need to have these type of role models? Why is it important for us to see these incredibly powerful women in our sport and where they're at? And so I would love to get your guys' opinion on why it is important for women to be in sport. What is it that is integral to having that? Yeah, I figured you would.
First of all, because we're really freaking good at it, I think is the main reason, whether we're coaches, wax techs, athletes, like being a woman, like already comes with a whole set of skills that work really well in cross-country skiing, regardless of where you, what role you take in the sport. So that's first of all. Second of all, we've been talking a lot about community and the power of community. Right now, I mean, I'm going to talk from the coach's perspective and wax tech perspective, so athletes can speak on another perspective. We're lacking in community right now. We're working on it. Trust, I'm working on it really hard, but there is a lack, like Leslie said, in the wax room. Generally, I mean, I've seen a lot more of this nationals, which is super awesome. But I mean, I've been coaching 10 years and normally I'm the only female wax tech out there, maybe one of 2 or 3 if I'm lucky. And I mean, coaching on the World Cup, for an example, I was a month, 2 months, the only female staff member. It's lonely, right? And so I think for me, why we should have more women in different aspects of the sport is community. Community is everything, right? It's kind of like that catch-22, right? Once you get the women in there, you can keep them a lot easier than just doing the one-offs of, okay, you're going to go the one female, you're going to go the one female. Yeah, because there's little things, right, that you don't realize. And it's not to bash any of my male colleagues. I've loved all my male colleagues. They've been awesome. But you know, there's the little things. There's everyone gathers in the male coach's room and, you know, they forget to tell you it's happening, or you feel weird about it going, or they're all having a sauna and you're like, no, thanks, I'm good. And, you know, little things, but that's where they, you know, talk strategy for the next day. So it's just little pieces like that. But imagine if that coaching staff could be all women, right? Instead of just the token female, what if we're, you know, the majority there are female, or 50-50? I take that at this point. But I think, yeah, going back to my first point before I just keep rambling here, we're really good at it. Like, I really want to see more female wax techs. Like, what do you have to be a good wax tech? You need to be super organized. You need to be able to stay on schedule, and you need to be able to remember what you learned. Oh, wow. We're all really good at that. So that's my plug for more female wax techs.
From an athlete perspective, Amelia, Katie, do you guys want to comment? Why is it important to see women in sport?
Well, like one thing that comes to mind is with coaching girls, who knows us the best, like women coaches, but it is still a profession that is male dominated. So I think just like bringing more women into the coaching aspect is also really important. And over the years, I've seen a slight increase in like who's coaching me. But there's still, there needs to be some improvement. But just, yeah, like who knows women the best, other women.
Yeah, I think we need more women in sport. And we'll look at it maybe through like the teammate lens. Because I was really lucky growing up. I had a really big team of girls, and it was the reason why I'm still in sport right now. In grade 12, I really liked track and field, and I really liked cross country skiing, but I had a really good community of female teammates on my team, and those were the girls that, you know, we'd push each other in intervals, and we would race hard to the line every time we had a race together. But we also would talk about the challenges we were going through, and we would talk about, you know, your first breakup or whatever it may be. And just those relationships and those friendships really helped me enjoy the sport from more than just winning a race or having a good day. It really kept me in just because I loved the community and the teammates that I had.
Liz, on an official standpoint, we don't see too many officials, female officials out there. For you personally, what would that mean to you to get more women in officiating?
To be honest, if anybody, I keep talking about my daughters, they're just over there, but my daughter who's coaching now, well, they both coach, but the one who's coaching cross-country skiing noticed that, I don't know if anybody noticed this, but yesterday, the entire start crew at the Nationals was female. The one thing that we've worked on, Patch and I, Cross Country Ski Ontario, is what those women are actually all friends of mine. So speaking of community, I mean, it's not that I brought them in, they're at every start line of all the races that we host, but what do we need to take those women to come to the next level and become a technical delegate? And I mean, I was in a officiating, and like, I mean, again, I'm gonna date myself, but like I was the chair of the organizing committee of the 2006 Nationals, but I was not an official. And so it wasn't until about 2015 that I decided to get more credentials behind me. But there was a lot of times when I'd be standing on the side of the trail and looking at the officials and looking at the technical delegates, and they were all male. And we need more females in that area. So we need to understand what the barriers are for those women that, like Leslie's sister, who's helping at Ski Nationals, like what's her barrier for becoming taking her officiating. Work, kids, which is.
Who I'm going to after this.
But it's, you know, there's a period of time where women tend to be looking after their families and they have to take a break from stuff like that, but then we can come back. And one of the things that, this is kind of to another question, is this sport is actually truly a sport for life. And, you know, I have a group of friends that we go skiing, we go biking, and we're sometimes on the start line racing. And that's the true benefit of this sport, is that you can go, you can come back, and you can have a group of friends, you can go on trips, and that's probably the biggest thing. So I kind of morphed off of
No, that's
officiating.
I think the point of a sport for life is so important, right? Like I come from two different sports, spring canoe kayak with Katie, and then I also figure skated. I was a Paris figure skater. I am not at my age being thrown into the air doing triple axels anymore. It's not something I can do. I value my hips, but I can continue to cross country ski. And so that's a great piece. And I think the huge messaging is that it is something that you can leave and come back to often and in different ways. You can go and come back as a coach, as a wax tech, as an official, as an administrator. So my role with Nordic Canada is very much behind the desk and you know, doing that sort of more administrative type work, but there's so many options to do that as well. I do want to give the group time to ask some questions. I didn't realize we're already 45 minutes into this, so obviously you guys are incredibly well spoken, and I know that some of you need to gear up and get ready for tomorrow. And I can see the wax techs in the room are like, okay, I've got to get back. So I just want to open up the floor to anybody, if you have questions, and for any of the parents or coaches that are in the room as well, if you guys have any questions before we wrap it up for these amazing women. Not all at once. Questions, thoughts? They've answered all your questions. That's what's happened, right? So they're going to stick around for the next 15 minutes anyways. If you guys are interested in chatting with them, I do just want to do a couple shout outs before I forget. First of all, Nathaniel, who's sitting in the corner over there, and Morgan, who unfortunately is not here. She is a member of our board, and Leslie as well. They were really integral in getting tonight organized and getting everyone together and getting our panels together. So huge thank you to those guys. As well, obviously our incredible panel for taking the time out. This especially like for Leslie and Liz, who are actually from Thunder Bay and helping with everything around here and the amount of hours they're putting into it. I just want to say thank you so much to these incredible women for spending time and being here as role models for us. So a huge thank you. And then and then I just also wanted to say thank you to the Lake Superior Nordic Association for putting on this incredible nationals that they are. I have to shameless plug. I am a former alumni from Lakehead University. I was a former member of the Lappy Nordic Ski Club. I do think it is one of the most incredible places to ski in the world. Probably shouldn't say that, but I do love it. And they have a fantastic Big Thunder, Lappy, and I'll probably miss all the other places that Campview. It is quite a Nordic ski community. I'll never forget my first Sibley ski tour. If anybody has ever done the Sibley ski tour around, if you are standing and you're looking at it Lake Superior and you see the big rock that they call Sleeping Giant, I'll never forget it with the minus, and there is no weather cutoff, by the way, for the Sibley ski tour. So I think the year it was like 90 something. I'm gonna date myself. Coming around the corner and getting hit from the nice frosty wind coming off the Superior, and I was like, why am I doing this? And yet finished the race, went and signed up for the next one, the next year. So it is a sport of hardy people. Thunder Bay is an amazing place, and a huge thank you to the organizing committee for putting on such an amazing nationals this year as well. And for me, it's great to be back in Thunder Bay for the first time in 25 years, which we won't judge me on. So Katie, did you have something to say?
Yeah, I just wanted to say tonight, if anybody is a female coach, identifies as female, is interested or wax tech is interested in becoming a coach, please come join us tonight at 8 p.m. Learn more about the Women's Ski Coach Association. It's an association of awesome coaches from both the United States and Canada. And so I really encourage you to come be social with us and get to know your women's coach community.
And where is that?
It is at the Foundry,
At the
which
Foundry.
is just around the corner from here.
Foundry around the corner. Any last parting words from our panel? No? Katie, you look like you have something to say.
Yeah, have fun.
Like,
Message. Still having fun. That's why I'm still here. And yeah, just remember to have fun when you're out there skiing, because it makes the hard days better and the good days even better as well.
So thank you so much, guys. This is now a shameless plug, but we do have some socks and buffs, the Olympic and Paralympic buffs from last year that have all our athletes' names on it, as well as our Nordic Canada baseball hats on sale at the back. You will need to do it with the QR code online, and Nathaniel can explain all that much better than I can, if you're interested. And otherwise, your panel is around for at least another 10-15 minutes. If anybody has individual questions they'd like to ask, thank you so much. If you guys want to mingle, that'd be great. Oh, I guess I should be nice and actually give you your thank you gift. Great. Leslie. Oh. Yes. Well, it's funny, I was in the store and Sophie, I was in the store and I bought the bags with the bumblebees because I felt our panel was very much in line with being like a bumblebee. They pollinate it, they spread it, they make it grow. So there you go. That was my presentation for that. So good. All right, guys. I'll get you to get out there.